Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim.
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Bennett and Mike sit down to discuss weather and the effects it can have on morale. So like weather, it just dry and sandy out. Okay, yeah, that's what I fought in Iraq and stuff like that. And, you know, and a lot of us did. Don't get me wrong, that's what we fought in and stuff. But I bring up weather especially because this is a remote podcast. I like doing this when I'm using the word vacation in quotes, because it can't really be a vacation if you're like, you know, it's like 45 hours of windshield time, you know, like, hey, Mo, yeah, stuff like that. But it's been good, whatever. So New England is cold and wet and rainy, and it has had negative effects on my morale, let me tell you what. But at least I'm not out in the field right now. I will tell you that much. At least I'm not out in the field, because I had been out in the field while it is cold, wet, and rainy. And so I needed to broach the topic. How about you? You ever been cold and wet, Bennett?
Well, I was stationed at Fort Drum for freaking... And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the beauty of Fort Drum, imagine Bridgeport for like 6 months out of the year.
Right.
You know, like pretty. All right, so let me put it this way: the only months that I didn't see it snow when I was stationed there were July and August. I've seen it snow in June before, and I've seen it snow in September.
No, I'm done with that shit. Fuck that.
So,
God damn it.
Insanity. Like, I remember being out on, it was actually one of the last times I was out in the field. It was before we deployed to Egypt. So this was like, it was early, it was May. Was it May? Yeah, it had to have been May of 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we were out in the field, and then I think we went to NTC like right after that. So either way, we were out in the field on Mother's Day, and it fucking snowed.
Oh.
It was like May 10th that year, and it snowed like 4 inches.
Why not?
Yeah, on Mother's Day in May. Yeah, man. So I mean, now let's clarify. In September and in June, when I did see it snow, it wasn't like a blizzard.
Well, right.
But the bottom line is, it was snow enough to see. It was cold enough to see snow.
Let me tell you what the chances of snow in North Carolina are.
Well,
right.
Not 0 in June, but remember what, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that winter, and when we drove to Charlotte, that was fun.
Yep. Oh my God, dude, that was hilarious. We were like, we were in the left-hand lane. This was a cluster, though. I'm so glad you brought that up, because we got going down the road. And it was like, shit, I forgot Brian's trousers. Fuck it. We're already, you know,
right.
We're in the middle of this blizzard, right? A bunch of jarheads in a minivan making their way down to Charlotte, like one civilian in tow who's just kind of wide-eyed. And we're on the freeway. Everybody is in the right-hand lane.
Yeah, like him and Tim were kind of freaking out a little bit because they'd lived down south. Brian's lived down there his whole freaking life,
right?
And Tim hasn't seen snow since forever. You know, like maybe since he was in Afghanistan or something. You know what I mean? Or wherever. You know, I don't know where he saw snow last, but I know, you know, it might have been in North Carolina too. But it, you know, either way, They were
Oh,
like,
it's
"Whoa,
so
dude, you need
good.
to slow down. You need to slow down, man." And
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, I have basically have snow tires on this van, and
right.
I don't drive like a bitch. So it's on. Let's
What's
go. Let's
happening?
get to this freaking place.
Oh,
And even so, it's a 3 hour drive that should have taken us, you know, well,
it
no,
should have
sorry,
been
it
3
should
hours.
have been a 3 hour, 2.5 hour drive. It ended
Right.
up taking us what, like 4.5, 5?
Half 5, yeah, something like that.
The way back was faster though.
And
But
it was kind of sort of worth it.
yeah,
Right.
that's
Right.
debatable.
Yeah, but the best part of the story, hold on, no. The best part of the story is when we're on the freeway and there's a line of cars that's in the right-hand lane. It's the only clear lane, right? So it's got a minivan with New York plates on it, a New York driver. I'm riding shotgun, originally from Michigan. I don't give a shit about driving in the snow. That shit's easy. So, like, you and I are just kind of cool with it. And the reason why I put myself into this is because I'm not grabbing the steering wheel. I'm telling you to go faster. Like, it's going to be fine, you know? And so Bennett slides all the way over to the left-hand side, just hauling ass down the fast.
Even the cops were like, yeah, let that guy go.
Yeah. Well, they were like, slow down. I'm like, no, keep going. Let's go. And they were like, fuck it. And these
It
guys,
was really funny.
they're gone.
It really was funny.
There was a box of power rings and a trip down to Charlotte. That was hardcore.
Ooh, power rings.
Power rings.
Power rings, baby.
Okay, so check this out. Here's the other reason why I wanted to talk about weather and the effect on morale. If you are an Afghan vet who is in Helmand Province at all, or any of the dustier regions, they have this thing called 100 Days of Wind. Are you familiar with this, Bennett?
I've heard of it, yes.
So it sucks a whole bunch. And it just basically means that you're going to have shit built up in your sinus passages for the next 6 months, essentially.
Right.
But you are all but guaranteed a couple of sandstorms a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember why the fuck we went out there, but we were called out in the middle of the night to go out to this elevated piece of terrain, the shrine that was not too far outside of our little PV that we had. And it was just one of those weird, I can't describe it because we don't really have this type of weather back home. You know what I mean? It's like in Afghanistan, you have all of the humidity right near the river, and the way that the mountains play off one another as far as the updrafts are concerned, you basically have these swells that are massive thunderheads that move across the sky, and you can see them at distance. So you can picture this like a mountain range with multiple thunderheads across it, ripping, through Afghanistan. And it's the middle of the night, and I know, yeah, we own the night, we're badasses. I don't give a shit. Every once in a while, you're just fucking tired, and you're like, you know what, this sucks. And up on the shrine, I mean, there's really no place to go to escape the elements. You're just kind of like out underneath of it and stuff. And so we had like a lean-to and some tarp and some of this other shit. Dude, I woke up in the middle of the night. My bag's like half filled with sand. I've got this fucking lean-to on me. And one of the puppies, we had 2 puppies. It was, Starsky and Hutch. Up at the shrine, and a puppy is licking my face. That's not cool. To wake up
No.
in the middle of a sandstorm with a lean-to on you and a puppy licking your face. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, man. There was a weird dream that was associated with that. There's a journal I've got to find now that I think about it. Anyway, that was another one of those where weather can affect morale, and of course, it's being a CMT, you experience all of it. Like, you're guaranteed where you will be outside in the most extreme heat, most extreme cold. It's going to be pissing on you and fucking cold. And going from being a CMT, which really wasn't that bad, it's just you're standing around all day, to going back out into the fleet. and experiencing a lot of that shit on the second go around, I was just like, you know what? I'm done with this shit.
When I'm getting home, I am done. That's kind of how I felt in, oh my God. Like, all right, so we had these outposts, that literally were bumfuck Egypt. Like, I mean, we were in Egypt, but they were in the middle of fucking bumfuck Egypt, right? So when you say bumfuck Egypt, literally there, literally. All right. And all right, so we had this pretty badass gym that we had put together, right? Or that had been put together out on the observation post that we were on, right? And it's a squad of us. So there was 11 of us. And so me and the other two team leaders ran, we were the talk NCOs, right?
Right.
So we ran 3 shifts a day, 3 8-hour shifts. So we did, I did 6 a.m. till whenever 8 hours later is. So it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, right? So my shift was from 6 to 2 every day, 7 days a week. You know what I mean? That's just how we ran. So I would work out twice a day. I would wake up at like 05 and I would get up almost every morning and do like, I would jump rope, basically is what I did. So I'm sitting there jumping rope in BFE and it's cold. It's cold as fuck that morning, right? And we're like, holy shit, man, this is in December. Not too far off from Christmas, but cold. It was December 2011, after 9/11, you know? And I'm sitting here jumping rope. Next thing I know, I start getting hit with this white shit.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, what the fuck? It's fucking snowing in fucking Egypt. Right?
Oh,
because we were at such elevation.
Yeah.
That it was snowing. I'm like, I'm in fucking Egypt and it's snowing. I can't even get away. I can't get away from the snow, even in Egypt. and I woke everybody up. You know, I woke up the other guys that were coming on shift with me and whatnot. Well, at least I was waking up. I woke up the guys that had to do. I woke up the guy who cooked breakfast. And then I woke up the guy who was guard mount started at 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they went and sat in this fucking tower, perched on the edge of like a 600-foot cliff, dude. It was freaking insane. But anyway, I went and woke them up, and I'm like, you're gonna shit yourself when you come out. Yeah. They got out of their racks, got outside, it's fucking snowing. I mean, legitimate snow, like sticking on the ground. You're like, oh my fucking God. So it was like morale was, a little dissuaded at that point because we're like, yeah, man, we don't have to see snow for like a fucking year. Except for on OP 3-2.
Right.
So anyway,
that's the right elevation.
That was fucking fun. Yeah.
See, the worst part about it, like, it snowed in Twin Palms a couple of times. It got cold enough to where flakes were hitting the ground. Nothing really stuck around to where you could make a snowball or anything. It also it had like torrential downpour to where, you see the signs that are like, oh, be careful, in case of flooding or whatever.
Like landslides and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, that happens every once in a while and shit. When that happens, you're like, holy shit, the entire 29 Palms and 2 Mile Road floods.
Oh, well, yeah, it's like I remember when my grandma, she lived in Arizona, and when it would rain in Arizona, like they have monsoon season, and that's what they literally call it. And when it would rain, like there was this river, like drainage river ditch thing that ran behind her house.
Yeah.
And when it would rain, like hard, that son of a bitch would be full. Like you're like, oh my god, if you get in it, it's like fucking rapids. Like that shit. Like you could kayak down that shit.
Oh hell
You know what
yeah.
I mean? I was like, holy crap! And literally, it only been raining for like half an hour, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god! But literally, because the ground doesn't soak up shit, it just everything drains. You know, it's crazy. I was like, Jesus.
We had video of this. I'll ask a couple of 3-7 guys. We're out in the how do I put it? It's like an alleyway in between the barracks. You know what I mean? To where you can like drive up 5 tons and offload all the furniture and shit and gear, whatever. And that flooded down in there. So we were like, it flooded enough to where it was about knee deep. We could get back and we could get some serious, speed going to basically like slip and slide across it.
That
It was a
shit's
hell of a lot of
crazy.
fun. Yeah, we were out there in boots and utes in the middle of the day.
So the other morale building piece of weather that we used to get, at least in North Carolina, were hurricanes. So, one hurricane that came through, I think we were deployed to California. We were in California when it hit, but another time we were there and we lived on the beach.
Right.
So they freaking evacuated us and put us in. They gave us the option. They had barracks for us on Main side, or we could just go stay out in town. And we're like, fuck, we're going
out in town.
We're going out in town, man.
You were like, no, right?
We're going. Yeah, we're like, yeah, well, you're gonna have to pay for it. We're like, we don't give a fuck. So we're like, do we have to go to work? And they're like, no. And they're like, just hunker down until we call you. And we're like, okay. So it was my whole team leader, everybody. Yeah, man, we just got like a block of rooms and freaking went to town for like 2 days. That shit was freaking fun as shit. That was a pretty good time.
That's like when I was an instructor in Quantico, we were snowed in heavily. I mean, it was like it was worse than an ass deep blizzard, I'll tell you that.
Well, I know. I mean, but what, like, you guys down in Virginia, when they get like 6 inches of snow, they lose their fucking minds. Like, that's it. Like, catastrophic. Like, they shut the whole shit down, everything, for days and days. But I also know, like, a few years ago, especially, there was I don't remember what year. It was in the like 2000 and single digits, like maybe 2007 or 2008. Maybe we're talking about the same one where literally you guys got dumped on with like 3 feet of snow.
Yes.
And I remembered like BWI was closed and all the airports were closed for days because one of our friends who he actually worked in Canada, but his family lived in Maryland. He was like stuck for like a week at home. I mean, he didn't break his freaking heart, but
right.
He was stuck for a week, dude.
This is something where we're like Weapons Training Battalion and TBS are they're the last ones to shut down. They're like, fuck you, we're training, sun's shining, we're good. And I have literally gone out there with, don't get me wrong, like all of us, the platoon went out there with shovels and dug out where the lieutenants were going to get down into the positions. There were numerous times where you couldn't even see the shooters. So we would have, like, your ready benches had a line. We just shoveled all the way down to center.
Right.
Same thing in between, like, we had a path. So if you were sitting on the ready benches, there was no way that you're going to be able to see anybody who was in front of you. You couldn't see the targets. You need to stand up in order to do anything with your, clipboard or anything else like that.
Yeah, I remember whenever we would do call in the winter at drum, we would like make ourselves like a little parapet out of snow and just like get in the sweet. We always qualified better because we didn't have to like lay in the prone because we couldn't. You know what I mean? We had to like we could sit and then put our elbows like up into the snow and like dig in.
Oh, see, that's artificial support in the
Well, but this is the Army, so and whatever, you kind of have to work with what you got,
right? So. Well, it's like, dude, come on now, we've all done some qual, like come range week, it's like I'm a gear queer. right? For sure. Come range week, I have a war belt, I have a cartridge belt, and one of those like 3 magazine cartridge holders
You are a
with some
fucking
gator
geardo.
clips.
You're a fucking geardo.
With some gator clips. And no. That's what I wore out in the fleet, right? Because here's what's required. I'll tell you flat out. You're supposed to have 2 liters of water. You got to have at minimum a cartridge belt with 3 magazines in order to be on the range. That's what you need, right? So that's what I would. And I'll tell you why. Because you're guaranteed that you're going to have the best prone position, right? You're slick.
Right. Yeah,
and
right.
And the other thing is the order stipulated, it's not artificial support. You can use any element of your gear from the standing position. So you put that magazine
you freaking dig that elbow right in.
Oh boy, let me tell you what. Yes, you were like locked into that position.
Now, when you would lock into it, would you use your whole hand or just rest it in your thumb?
Just into the thumb and
yes, very nice.
Oh yeah,
and you kind of get that good twist lock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
with the wrist going forward,
yes,
right?
Yes.
The fist that's kind of coming back.
Yeah. I'm actually doing it right now, but you can't see it.
Me too. Me too. You're dark. I'm sure you guys at home are doing it too. That's
shit, that's really funny. The freaking offhand. Now, see, I never shot in the offhand in the Army. Isn't that crazy? So the qual shit is different. Literally, they're like, okay, we're going to the range today. We would go out, we would zero our weapons, and then we would qualify, and then we'd be done. It's like literally like one day worth of shit. The Marine Corps, I remember, is like it's like a 5-day evolution.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, nope. And you don't shoot. It was literally it got to a point where you didn't even shoot paper. You shot Crazy Ivans.
Yeah.
That just popped up.
Like hit or miss.
So they would pop up. And then if you shot it, it would go down. If you didn't, it would stay up.
Yeah.
So
totally different world.
Yeah, and they would shoot everywhere from like 25 meters out to like 300. Yeah. But it was and it was a lane, and it was like a 300 meter target would pop up. You would have to shoot it or whatever, and you know what I mean. And then then a 150, then a like 250, then a like 50, and so it was kind of cool because it was semi-realistic, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But completely unrealistic at the same time.
Right. I mean, that's like, folks have asked, hey man, why'd you stay on the combat marshalship side of things rather than the team side of things? And combat marshalship, I mean, you can directly apply it to combat. That's right. That's kind of a jam.
Hence the name, right? Combat marshalship.
Real world. Yeah. Well, and the other thing that the Marine Corps does, kind of circling back to the whole weather topic, is if you're on range week, that is your appointed place of duty. So if you have acclimate weather, what have you, that shifts the schedule to the right, that could be really good or it can be really bad. Because some of those 8th and I bubbles, my heart goes out to them because they stay in Camp Upshur, and fuck that. Like that's it's like Camp Wilson. You're stuck in Quonset huts, only instead of the middle of the desert, it's the middle of the woods.
Right.
Hey, like there ain't nothing special going on out there, gents. I'll tell you that much right now. It's a bunch of tin cans cut in half, and you're gonna sleep in there until this shit blows over. Which, during that blizzard, I want to say that we were in the middle of a lieutenant qual week. Yeah, I want to say that we were. Well, you know how it is. You like snap in for the first half and then it's qualification. But I want to say that we were getting ready to like roll into pre-qual, and the blizzard went through the weekend, something like that. But we were, dude. They black flagged everything. They were just like negative. We're shutting down the base. We've got to sort all this shit out, right? And we were trapped legitimately in our apartment. Now, I had the 4Runner at the time, and there was no way that truck was going to get out of there. There was no way. So what we did is so this was back during my drinking days. So we forged through the snow over to Wawa, right there on 610 where 95 and 610 crossed, there was a magnificent thank you, Wawa, for being open during the blizzard. I think it was 2010, but they were open and they had snacks and shit like that, but out their cooler. And we actually crossed 610, which was like, hip deep snow, and got as much beer as we could possibly carry in like backpacks and shit, and then humped it all the way back. And just got shit-faced drunk the entire time. Because there was nothing else to do. We were like, some shit went down later on that year. So I remember that it was 2010. But that was because I remember that was when we pissed off the lady downstairs. Like dude, Chaz and I were over 6 foot tall and we're playing Nerf wars. I remember that's what we got. We got beer and Nerf guns. Like shit to do in the apartment because the power would go on and off and shit like that. And so we got like beer and Nerf guns. Heather was there, so that was better. She livened up the bit. It wasn't just two stupid drunk jarheads. There was some decency to be had. Morale. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good times, man. Being stuck in.
So
that shit, like...
See, that shit didn't happen. That shit doesn't happen up here. Like,
yeah.
It could snow 6 feet. And they're like, yep, go to work. Our PT's at 8 instead of 6. Let us give us a chance to plow the street, and then you can go for a run. So that kind of sucked. You know what I mean? Like there's no hiding from it because it just is.
And then you can go for a run.
Yeah. So just wait till usually I think we started PT at like 06. Wow. And at that time too, here's the thing. At 06 it's dark. I mean it's dark. It's not just like dark, it's dark for like another 2 hours. Like in the winter here, you might get basically, yeah. I mean it gets light at like 8:30 and then it like gets dark again at like 4:30.
Right.
And in the dead of winter, like you literally get like, I don't know, 8-10 hours of light at the very most in the middle of the winter. So I remember when I was working at the nuke plant, like you go into the nuke plant, that's it. Like you're not coming out, right? You know what I mean? So we would go to work. I would go to work at and get there and go on shift at 6, and then we would get off at 6. Well, there would literally be like a week that I wouldn't see the fucking sun.
Oh.
Because I'm going, you know what I mean?
No.
I'd go to work at night and I would see, yeah, man. And then I would drive home. I would sleep. I'd wake up before the sun came up. You know what I mean? It was bad. I wouldn't see the sun for like 7 days. Oh. It was pretty crazy. So that's not good. So right. when you're this far north, it's just, and it was even worse up at Fort Drum because you're literally 20. You might as well have been Canada, dude. You're 28 miles from the Canadian border.
Well, and it's like people,
but a wilderness. Talk about a outdoorsman. Outdoorsman's paradise, dude. But
oh yeah.
But if you didn't fish or hunt, you were screwed.
Well, and that's the thing. Like people wonder, hey, what are they doing up there? You know what I mean? I often do shit, and I'm from Michigan, which we get a shit ton of snow and all this other stuff, and it's the same way. It's like
you would hunt, fish, drink, and fuck.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why everybody's an alcoholic and they're pregnant all the time.
And if you're lucky and a hockey player, right. you're gonna be a
lot of outdoor hockey, which is cool. A lot of pond hockey. You know what I mean?
Because it's a constant frozen state.
Yeah, right. Man. Pretty much. And
dude, I'm done with it.
There's a lot of get a lot of pro hockey players from up here, man. From like Rochester, Syracuse,
Yeah.
even like Oswego, just the whole snow belt up here. You get a ton of freaking pro hockey players out of here, man. Because that's what they do. They play freaking hockey.
Well, right. Well, and I grew up in that environment. I know what
Right,
you mean.
exactly.
I play hockey year round.
But they play here. I mean, and that's one of the craziest things. Yeah, we're going to the skating rink.
Yep.
It's July. Well, the ice rink is still open. So, we're gonna go practice. We're gonna go play hockey. I'm like, I mean, I like hockey, but I'm not like that guy, you know.
Yeah.
But shit.
See,
we also have indoor soccer too, so people go ape shit for that up here too. So.
Well, and it's so funny because earlier this weekend, we're up in the New England area for a friend's wedding, and it's been great seeing
up
folks.
In the New England. You like did a tour from one end of New England to the other, so you like touched all of New England.
Yes, yes. We drove 14 hours through the night from Raleigh to the Berkshires, where my wife's from, and then got up the next day, tried to like sleep it off, whatever, through Thursday. Then Friday we hightailed it out of there up to Maine. On Saturday, now she was in the wedding, so when any guy knows this. If your wife's in the wedding, you're not going to see your wife that day.
No, you're done.
Right?
You're the Lone Ranger, baby.
Right. You got to figure out shit to do that day, which I already knew that, right? I just kind of thought it was going to be a different breakdown, whatever. It doesn't matter. Here's the reason why this topic immediately hit. It was so fucking cold and wet while we were up there. It was like on the brink of snow. In the middle of the day, right?
It's like 37. And you're just like frozen to the bone. Like, where's the hot tub, guys?
Right, exactly.
Because I can't get warm because where's the hot tub?
I took several extraordinarily hot showers. You know what I mean? Yeah. There was no hot tub. There was no fucking hot tub. I looked for a hot tub. So it's cold and wet and it's rainy. And I'm alone. Nobody else is going to be making their way up there because of just how it worked out, right? So there's no one else to hang out with during the day. Not a big deal. So I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm going to drive around, take a few photos, check out the shoreline.
You did take some good photos, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I took a bunch more also. I went up and down a little bit on the coast and stuff. There are crazy fuckers out there surfing.
Oh, yeah, man. That shit's no joke. With like full wetsuits on?
Yeah.
Hooded and everything?
And they look like seals.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, yeah. They've got shark bait written all over them.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Don't get cut while you're in the water. You are fucked. Dude, yeah. So, the guys surfing and all sorts of shit, and it's cold and it's wet and it's rainy and blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't even want to get out of my car. At one point in time, I don't give a shit. I will say this on the air. If you saw those pictures from Maine up by like Noble Lighthouse or whatever, I did not leave my vehicle, okay? I did not leave my vehicle the whole fucking day, okay? Like, I drove everywhere, and every candid, beautiful photo that I took was out like the passenger window. I was like, dude, fuck this. I like chain smoked stogies and just looked out at the water. And I'm like, this is Sea Stories right here, man.
Yeah, man. We should do an episode right here. No, I love the Maine coast, dude. It's awesome. Maine coast is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it's a special gem during those certain times of year and stuff.
See, if you were really into this whole Sea Story thing, you would have gone down, you would have found a fisherman, you would have been like, dude, can I borrow that yellow coat? And the Gordon fucking fisherman's hat. And you would have taken a picture
Damn.
to put on the freaking episode page.
Opportunity.
Fucking failure. Epic failure.
Damn it.
Just saying.
I thought it was really good that I was smoking a cigar by the ocean, too. I thought that pretty much nailed it.
I just ruined your shit.
That, like, sums it up for me now, though. Like, hey, Mike, are you out there hooking a jet? Not really. No,
Not so much.
I sit in my sedan and I smoke cigars.
Here I am taking a picture in the VW with a stogie. looking at the rocky shore going.
I was like, I was that guy who parked as close as humanly possible. I'm thinking angle, fucking leaning out the window. Nope, it's cold. It's fucking cold and wet. It's like 80 where I'm from.
Freaking North Carolina's spoiled you, young man.
Oh my God. Felt a little bit like a bitch. Just a little bit.
I stood outside tonight in the rain. Cold rain, because it's only, I don't know what the hell the temp is right now. Here, hold on. Let's get this for the record. Because today was the youngest daughter's birthday bash, so I've got this cooking giant pork tenderloins down to a science, right, on the grill. Yeah, so it's like 58 right now, so it's not too cold.
It's not bad.
58 and raining though.
Yeah,
that rain was freaking not comfortable.
It cuts through you.
And I was out there freaking
we were
flipping pork tenderloins all over the joint.
We've got to have my buddy Jaron on, and it was my last field op. Is the reason why I have to bring this up, because it was that cold, piercing rain. And it was one of those where I was a sergeant, right, at the time, walked in, hey, where's the platoon? Oh, they're out in the field, cool. I get in touch with LT. He's like, yeah, just hump out here. Just fucking meet us out here. I'm like, all right, whatever. You know how it is, right? Like, you can't tell too many Marines, like, hey, man, just hump out to our paws. Like, right. Yeah, fuck you. Okay, like, no, I'm not going to walk out through. Pick me up. So I get, like, halfway out there in search of rain. I'm just like, shit. And I mean, it's a couple of miles out there. Don't get me wrong. This isn't just some, like, it's kind of a walk in the park. Don't get me wrong, as far as Camp Pendleton is concerned. But yeah, it's full-blown fucking torrential downpour by the time I get out to this mortar pause. So I put on all my shit, right? And you don't want to walk in Gore-Tex. You know how that is. So
yeah, of course not.
Right. So I walk up there and I'm entirely fucking soaked. Right, I had switched my top, blah blah blah. I did all the proper Marine Corps shit, whatever, and fucking. So we wind up doing like PSO shit throughout the day. Which, if you're a PSO out of mortar pause, you just stand there. You just fucking stand there. That's it. You have nothing else to do. Make sure shit's safe. Which sounds awesome, except for you're freezing your balls off. And so it wound up being, and I honestly, I think this was the only time that I've ever had this happen. It was on the brink. It was like 35 degrees or whatever in Southern California, which is unseasonably cold for, that time of year and what we were doing and everything else. And in the middle of the night, guys' bags were getting flooded. Dudes were like dropping from hypothermia, shit like that. And in the middle of the night, they were like, index. Get the trucks here immediately. We're going to fucking leave. I'm like, 2. We're just going to leave. Oh, aye, sir. Roger that. We wind up fucking, fuck this. I don't give a shit. That's what they want. That's what they want. So we wound up hauling ass. I think it was like 2 guys hauled ass down there. We got POVs. Grabbed more Marines. Went down to the motor pool. It was a clusterfuck, dude. You know what I mean? But we slept in our own beds that night. We got all of our shit up. I mean, at one point in time, and the reason why I bring up Jaron is because we were just standing there, and I'm like, what's up, man? How's it going? And we were in a fucking puddle. I mean, everywhere was a puddle. He's like, this But he's just one of those dry sense of humor guys. You know what I mean?
Like
I've
this
had
just
it, but I can't
this
get-
just sucks, dude.
Fuck.
This sucks so bad. Worst time with bad weather, and this kind of rolls together: rain, cold, the whole thing. So, it's a little Lance Corporal Bennett Tanton in like March of 1993. We were in the middle of Hell Week, RIP, Reconnaissance Indoctrination Platoon Hell Week, out on Onslow Beach, North Carolina. And it's early March, like late February, early March, and it's fucking cold. And they're just, it was just one of those thrash sessions. Like we had, I don't remember, like we had messed up, somebody had messed up earlier in the day, and they had the whole class out in the surf doing the, log sit-ups in the surf, pulling us out. Then we'd run so we'd stay warm and we wouldn't like get hypothermia. You know what I mean? And I just remember sucking so bad that whole night, because it was raining right on that verge, like 36, 37 degrees, right? And just on the edge of snow, but it was raining. And I remember looking over at the instructors, and they had like ponchos on,
Right.
And we were like, "You fucking, I hate you so much," And they're like drinking hot coffee and the whole thing. What they pull out, like one of them pulls out a thermos. They're like, water samples. And next thing I know, we're like, we're diving into the surf, mouthfuls of water, running to the bucket, spitting them in a bucket, running back. And after, the fourth or fifth time, you like start getting sick. Next thing you know, dudes are puking, and it's raining, and it was like hours and hours and hours and hours of that shit.
Yeah.
I look back and I actually just think, like, how didn't you quit? Like, how didn't I quit? Like, I literally was on the point where it was brinking at like minute by minute, like, I'm quitting. No, you're not quitting. I'm quitting. No, you're not quitting. I'm quitting. I'm fucking quitting. This sucks so bad. I'm quitting. And I look over at my buddy. He's like, dude, don't fucking quit. and then like 2 minutes later, I'd look at him and be like, dude, don't fucking quit. It was literally like, felt like about 5 or 6 hours of just, the suckiest shit you've ever done, because you're freezing and you're just like, this is never going to end. I'm literally going to die right here. It was not good. I hated it. And that may have been like, even though up at Fort Drum, I've been in like, negative 40, right?
Right.
But at least we had gear to like deal with that. I mean, is there really gear to deal with negative 40? Not really, but it's still like we had coffee and like the ability to like to do stuff. You know what I mean? Like we weren't like left high and dry with like nothing. We had like heat tabs that they had like broken out from like the Vietnam era, because it was so goddamn cold. I don't know where the fuck they found those things from, but anyway. Back to the beach, that was probably the most miserable and cold time that I've ever had in my entire life, I think.
Just so that you could share this sea story right now.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't quit.
Yeah, I guess. Oh my God.
So that you'd have really good sea stories for your grandkids. I
really wanted to quit so bad. And then I was done. I was like, God, I'm glad I didn't quit. You know what I mean? That you really, and anyone that says that they don't have a point in that during that suck fest, that they don't want to quit, they're fucking lying. It crosses everyone's mind. It has to. It's impossible not to.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, maybe I'm just a pussy, but whatever.
Hell yes, man. Gotta love it. Well, thank you so much for those fantastic sea stories. Thank you again for listening, folks. Subscribe, rate, review right now. iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM. Thank you to Heroes Media Group. Proud supporters of Heroes Media Group. We're proud affiliates of Heroes Media Group. Check out all of the shows on the network. We're cross-pollinating and doing all sorts of different stuff. They are a great cast of characters. So check out Heroes Media Group. Time now. You got anything else for these fantastic listeners?
Stay warm, man.
Yeah.
I'm like having flashbacks and shit. Especially now that I'm back up here in upstate New York. It's like raining outside right now. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
There you go.
Why did I do this? But anyway.
For days like today.
Gotta keep the family happy, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They all wanted to move back. I was like, all right, I'll find a job. Thanks.
There you go.
There it is.
And on that note, we cue the music.
From dawn to setting sun.